Here we go.
You're tuning in to Will Love Listen. Now listen.
Alaina Moore from Tennis. Thank you so much for joining me today. Geeking out a little bit. So thanks. It's great
Oh
to have
my
you.
God, I'm so happy to be here. Good morning.
I'm very excited for the new album, but I promised my friend I would start off with this question. Where the hell can I get a copy of the Ritual and Repeat vinyl?
Oh my God. Okay, well, that is the only album that we don't own. It was the only record we did a major label deal for that one. So they will not press the vinyl because it's their, you know how HBO canceled all those shows to write it off as a loss?
Yeah, yeah.
They're basically doing that with us.
Wow.
Yeah, so our album is a loss and they won't make it. It's just a write-off.
Well, it's not a loss to the fans.
I know. Unfortunately, we can't control it. We don't own it, they do, so we can't make the record. We've actually tried to license it from them and they won't let us.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we literally can't make it. If anyone is upset about it, they can like maybe tweet at and hassle. I honestly don't know which label owns it anymore. They keep selling it off like stocks. So it
Okay.
was at Universal and then it went to, I have no idea. It's keeps changing hands, but either way, we have no control over it.
There's not a box sitting in your closet that a fan could bid on.
If we knew that they were going to stop making it, we would have held like a precious stock over, but we don't have it either. It just doesn't, we don't have it.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is
Oh,
good to know because the
I
fandom,
know.
that's a big topic in the fandom. So,
Yeah, I honestly, I'm 40, who cares? Major labels really fucking suck.
yeah.
They're just like basically the Russian villain of everything and like why? Just like let us have our album. What's the matter? Like nobody wins. No one's making any money off of it. No one wins in any way. We just can't have our album. So stupid.
And like, I'm kind of glad you said that because that leads me into a topic that I kind of want to discuss a little bit. Having gotten both a taste of both sides of the industry, do you feel like with major labels, they really try to control their artists to a degree and sort of limit creative freedom, or was that not your experience?
Um, I think that major labels just clearly treat it as what it is, which is just an financial investment. So I don't think it's as much about controlling the artist as it is about controlling the investment. However, I will say there are great people who work at major labels and indie labels. However, there's plenty of indie labels that are just as shady and shitty as major labels, and they have
Really?
just as predatory of deals with just as unfair of terms. And a lot of musicians are wary of it because they think, oh, indie label, it's artist friendly, but it's actually not. It's just as bad as if you were signing with anyone else, a major label.
That's interesting because people don't usually perceive it that way. They feel
There
as
are exceptions. Yeah, you're right. There's exceptions, like not all to everything, but again, there are, I know of some indie labels that are also very, yeah, predatory.
wow, that's interesting. So it's really hard to find a good label to back you as an
hmm
artist, essentially.
absolutely. Especially a label that will support you for a long time while you build your career and you learn how to write a good record, how to play live. Obviously, we hear about like development deals of like pop stars who've been signed since they were 13 and they've been like in development. There's those, but there's not really, I feel like there's no example of that with a band, probably because they're not as profitable as a pop star. But yeah, I don't feel like bands get to have that long, slow foundation of support until they get to become the best version of themselves, the way so many other bands of the past needed, like from the Beatles to Fleetwood Mac,
Yeah.
needing many years and many albums to finally get to where they're like the fullest expressions of their creative selves.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's really interesting. And well, I want to talk. I don't know if you could say. So, could you? I don't want to get you in trouble, but could you say any labels that like you thought were one way and then they ended up being completely different than how you perceive them to be?
Fortunately, the labels we worked with were very kind to us. Like we had good experiences with Fat Possum. They're awesome over there. If I remember correctly, their album deal was like 1 page, which is just so great for a contract. It's just like
That's rare.
not 100 pages of fine print. Like they were great. And then we worked with Communion, which is Ben Lovett from Mumford and Sons. It's his label. And he's amazing. He runs a tight ship. We loved that experience. That album got upstreamed to a major label until we were passed on to different hands from Communion. And that's when we stopped having a good experience. But um, so we've had good experiences. We just felt like we got to a point where we would do better on our own. I'm not going to name any names. Later, when our career's done, I'm going to burn so many bridges. But right now, we'll keep those bridges intact.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But I do
Mhm.
sense a good autobiography in the future.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually writing it now. So
You really? Oh, I
yeah.
love that.
Mhm.
Oh, I can't wait to read that.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll write a whole Burning Bridges chapter, and then Patrick, who's way more like reasonable than me, will probably come and delete it. But
Out of sheer curiosity, because I'm into astrology, what are your star signs?
yeah, I'm a Taurus. He's a Virgo, and I don't know if this, yeah, both Earth elements. And I don't know if this means anything, but it seems like it should. But my birthday is May 9th, and his is September 9th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I feel like that
Probably it
seems
does.
like it would mean something.
No, it actually does because like in a numerology perspective, because they say if you're born on like the ninth, you get along with other nines and threes and sixes, people in that family. So
Okay, great.
yeah, so there's a chemistry with the astrology and the numerology. I like it.
I love that.
And it makes sense that you'd be the more vocal one and he would be the more like ripped
Yeah.
out type of person.
Yeah. He's the introvert, I'm the extrovert. Yeah.
I really want to talk about your evolution in sound, but prior to that, for those that don't really know, I want you to go into how you met Patrick and how you formed tennis.
Yeah. So we met in college many years ago. And he recognized me because I had been his waitress earlier that month or whatever. And I don't remember, but I had waited on him, and then he walked into a classroom and saw me. And back then I had distinctive hair, but because it was shaved, and I shaved my head before Brittany did. And anyway, I he came up to me, and then we just started a fast friendship. And music didn't come until later. We met in a different context. We had both been burned out of music. We were music majors before we met and ended up not liking it and feeling like our relation to music was being kind of ruined by the academic experience of music. So we both switched to being philosophy majors and met at a new school in a new department. And so we met in that context. And so our bond early on was like over philosophy and literature. And we both rode bikes everywhere. We didn't have cars and thought that was cute. And yeah, I don't know, it just went very quickly. But we didn't make music together until after we were already married. So it was several years in before that came up.
That's so interesting how you met as friends and then you became a couple. I feel like the strongest relationships start out as friends and just naturally, like organically develop.
I agree. And I talk to my friends who are online dating or app dating because I never had that experience. But I think it's really hard to meet someone with the expectation of having romantic and sexual chemistry right away. Because for Patrick and I, for both of us, it came later. And if we had found each other on an app, I think we would have swiped past each other, which is crazy because I actually think we're soulmates. I never even believed in soulmates, but now, like 15 years in, I'm like, we're soulmates. I don't think there's a better person for me out there than Patrick. But yeah, I mean, I hate to think that we could have missed it if it was just based off of that superficial expectation and not having a long chance for it to just grow naturally.
Well, I agree with that completely because unfortunately I use the apps and I hate them for that reason alone.
Mhm.
And the last person that I was with long term, we actually met through Bumble BFF, which is like the friendship version of Bumble
Oh,
Dating.
I
So,
love that.
and it was like similar to like your experience in a way because like we met each other, we were hanging out, we started doing a lot together, and then eventually, obviously, it became something romantic. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I feel like I've had better luck with BFF, ironically, for dating than the actual dating app. So it speaks.
That's so sweet, actually. I'm gonna tell some of my friends about that to maybe because it takes the pressure and the expectation off. And I feel like for me, I always have my first feelings of like attraction towards someone when I see someone who I wouldn't expect, but you see them in some new context, and then some new aspect of their personality comes out, and then you're like, oh, cute. Like I never knew that about you. And now this whole new feeling is here. And I just think that's so special.
Yeah, I do too. And I feel like date when it's a dating app, there's the whole pressure to like go with the mold. So I feel like when you meet someone from a dating app, you're very guarded by default. You're afraid of
Mhm.
saying something that like might portray you in a bad light. Whereas if it's through a friendship app, you're naturally just more like your guard is down.
Absolutely. I can see my manager, Andrew, is still on. We should ask Andrew, do you have this experience with
Yeah.
dating apps, or is it just
I'm absolutely gonna try this best friends, the friends first app because yeah, the dating apps are miserable. I can't stand them. It's so much pressure, and then it's just never what you expect. So I really appreciate it because I didn't know that even existed.
It, it
Aw.
it worked, and I guess what I will say is, since I'm glad everyone's so like perceptive to it, is the guy I met through Bumblebee FF. Like we just met as friends, and the chemistry really like we hit it off right away. And then lo and behold, we were traveling all the time. We were out to eat every night. It was like
Mhm.
I would have never gotten that off like Bumble dating, I feel. But because we met through BFF and we were naturally so like, our guard was down, we were like, whatever. It allows you to connect more. So tell your friends, Andrew
I
tried.
love that. Yeah, try it, Andrew.
Love it. Thank you. I absolutely will. Thank you for the thoughts. It's amazing.
It'll
Cute.
work, I'm telling you. Now, obviously you guys met Patrick, you guys get married, you're doing music now. And I've been following your sound for a while and it's really evolved. And one thing I wanted to ask you was you had such an evolution in sound. What was the inspiration and or motivation behind it initially and its change over time?
Mhm. Yeah, so the I think we are motivated first and foremost every album. We want to try and do something we didn't do before. So I think since we started off doing like girl groupie, wall of sound production, lo-fi production kind of thing, as we first, I think we kind of wanted to get our footing in songwriting and in production. So I think our second album isn't that much of a divergence from the first album. But from there on, we wanted to start exploring other things. So like one thing was like dry vocal. A lot of it was production oriented, like dry vocals instead of reverb. What's that like? And then how does that change the way I write now that the way that as the production changes, I feel like the songwriting changed. And I feel like that kind of shifted us forward through time, just kind of revisiting, like even something as we really, really approach it from a production standpoint, I think so, or engineering. So even Patrick would think like, I'm getting a whole new guitar chain for the next album, pedals I've not used, tones I've not used before. I even started off using ribbon mics, which are very vintage 60s sounding mics. For those of you who don't know what a ribbon mic is, there's a few kinds. There's ribbon mics, dynamic mics, and condenser mics. And dynamic mics are kind of like a intermediary sound between the two. And then condenser mics have the most presence, the most clarity. That's what like any pop star would be using is a condenser mic. It's very like articulate and doesn't really put any color on the vocals at all. So we've kind of shifted through time with production to where now I went from a ribbon mic to a dynamic mic to now I'm using a condenser mic. Um, And that it just changes. It's a fun writing exercise. It changes the way you write. It changes the demands of the song. And I think that's been a huge influence on our evolution.
And you noted that like there's an obvious change with every album. And you hear it. Like when I listen to each album, I feel like each one is like significantly different from the next. So can you say what, if any, has been the primary driving force behind each record?
Hmm. Yeah, I think, actually, I think my initial urge to write a song was to try to convey something that I couldn't explain. And in that instance, it was the first sailing trip that Patrick and I went on. It was so transformative. I mean, I had never been on a boat. I had basically never been to the ocean. And then I just lived like half of a year on an old, tiny, tiny sailboat sailing. We sailed through like the Gulf Stream to the Bahamas and all these huge trip. And it was just so crazy. When we went home, we would try and explain it to our friends and family, and they were just like, okay, cool. Because they hadn't done, I mean, it's like trying to explain, honestly, space to someone who's never been to space. They're like, sounds black and big. You're like, I don't know. It's like hard to imagine it. And it was just kind of, it felt like it almost didn't happen. I don't know if you've had that experience where you like have a big life transforming moment, and then like 3 days later you're like, did that even happen? It's just like gone now, what the fuck, but you're left with the emotional aftermath of it. So that's why we started writing music. Actually, it was like, so the first album just documents that sailing trip because it just felt so big, it couldn't just be whisked away into my memories. I felt like it needed to be like archived, you know. And then I think from then on it just was more about that with various emotional states and other life experiences like my marriage, and just I think that was my initial urge, is just like I want to preserve something in time that was really important to me. I don't want it to be lost.
I like that. Because you hear like the emotion lyrically. And
Mhm.
obviously like it resonates with the production. So, and I had read about that sailing trip and I found it to be so like romantic, but also like I feel like it probably shaped you guys because you were forced to be together like intimately for like such a long period of time. And I feel
Mhm.
like sailing in the ocean and anything with water honestly is healing. So,
Me too. Yeah, it did really shape us. It's why we got married actually, because we felt like we were too young, but after that sailing trip, we felt like we had already packed like 10 years of marriage into 6 months.
yeah.
And we were like, I think we really proved to ourselves that we're compatible. So we got married, and it ended up being fine.
Yeah, and it worked. And then
Hmm.
you got all the success because of the marriage with the band.
Hmm.
So, speaking of which, your new album, Face Down in the Garden, marks your seventh studio album. It's going to be released April 25th. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the tour. How does this album differentiate from the others?
Well, in one way, it was the most arduous and painful to write, which they all get harder for some reason, but this one was the worst. I felt like it was, we also felt weirdly like the universe was conspiring against us to keep us from writing the album. We felt very inspired, very motivated to finish it. It was a huge shared goal. And it felt like every day somehow some bizarre thing would come up to keep us from writing, like crazy bullshit that would just like interfere with our writing process. It was really disorienting. And there's a few moments where we almost pulled the plug on the album, and we are like, if we don't have a breakthrough by tomorrow, we're canceling this. But thank God it all worked out and we didn't have to cancel it and we finished it.
That's so interesting. So, were things that were happening in your personal life just like giving writer's block?
It wasn't even writer's block. It was like more pragmatic. Like, um, we like a bunch of weird things. Like we went on a writing sabbatical to Mexico on our sailboat. And while we were there, our engine on our boat broke. like 10 times. And it's a sailboat, but you need the engine to motor in and out of ports. Basically, it's a safety thing. It's pretty difficult and dangerous, especially where we were sailing in the Sea of Cortez. It doesn't have consistent wind. The wind will just turn on and then turn off. And so when the wind turns off, you're just trapped. So our engine died constantly. I got a weird chronic illness that was crazy. My grandma passed away.
I'm sorry.
We got boarded by pirates, and yeah, it was everything ended up being fine, but it was really scary and insane. There was just like all these very weird life things. So that was a 3 month writing sabbatical that got ruined, and no music was made. It was just trying. We'd like get out the guitar, and then like something horrible would happen, and we'd be like, "Oh my God," and put the guitar away. And then home again, it was just similar things, like just life stuff that made it really, really difficult to work. I don't know why. It felt like out of sync with the universe.
No, I got you. But wow,
Mhm.
that seems like a traumatic 3-month boating experience.
It was really weird. Normally, it's like extremely healing and nurturing. It's full of there's usually quite a bit of hardship. Like there's usually at least one really scary storm or something. But on this trip, it was just all hardship. It was really weird. We were joke. It felt like we were on like the Oregon Trail or something, or just like someone has diphtheria, some like there's a flood. You're like, what's happening?
Oh man. So, but that's a lot in such like a small period of time. So, will like fans be able to hear that on the record?
I think so. I mean, even the song 12 Blown Tires, um, we wrote that after we had an insane cross country drive at the end of a tour where we kept losing tires, 4 tires in 2 days, and had to pull over constantly, buy new tires. We were pulling over the highway, so much changing. It was just crazy. We'd pull over to change a tire and then see another tire was about to explode. I'd be like, what the fuck? So that was just like one experience, but I felt like just this like cosmic trial. And I do feel like it comes through a little bit in the album.
That's good. I can't wait to listen to it, especially knowing all of this. And the pirate situation, that's scary because I've seen
Oh.
like videos with pirates and I'm like, oof. But
Oh, yeah. In our instance, it was teenage pirates, so they were extremely young. And I think that they came into piracy out of like pure boredom in the same way that like kids would drive around and like smash mailboxes with a baseball bat.
yeah.
So it wasn't like they weren't like armed, but it was still like they were robbing us. So, it ended up being okay, but it was definitely teen pirates.
Oh my God. Did they get anything valuable?
Not really. They ended up taking all of our fishing gear, which is fine. We ended up kind of trying to appease them with gifts, being like, "How about we just give you things?" And then we gave them lots of whiskey, which I love whiskey, so we had a bunch of it in the holds, and then we just like pulled up our anchor and left as fast as we could, and they just let us go.
Oh my God. At least they were amateurs.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted money. They were yelling for money, but we just kept handing them, here's booze, here's a
Yeah.
fishing pole. It's not exactly money, but here's all these other things.
Play the bro card and just be like, I could give you stuff.
I know. I'm like, do you want a cute outfit?
Yeah.
I'll give you a cute outfit.
Oh my God. That's something else. That is
Mhm.
something else. So this tour, I'm very excited. There's some other things I want to ask you, but since this tour is really to promote the new album, I'm really excited. I'm probably gonna go to the Pier 17 show. I love that venue.
Yeah.
So what could fans expect on this tour? And are you gonna integrate, I'm assuming a lot of the new album, but some like fan favorites as well from previous ones?
Yeah. Yeah. We try to make sure we play all the hits. I know it's like such a big deal to leave your house and go to a show. You want to hear all your favorite songs. And our catalog's pretty big, so it's hard to do all of it, but we do our best to get a representation of all the albums. And some songs don't really work that well live, we've noticed, which is kind of a bummer. A song that might be our favorite on an album doesn't necessarily translate in a live setting. It's always interesting to figure out how that plays out in the end. So we're not 100% sure what from the new record we'll be doing live yet. Our band flies in next week and we're going to start testing things out and see what feels good with a live band.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that show specifically because I'm assuming you've been to the venue, right?
Mm-mm, I haven't.
My God, it's so like picturesque because it's
Mhm.
right on this rooftop and one of the bridges is like right behind the stage. And
Cute.
so like it's beautiful.
Well, I love outdoor shows. It feels more like um I feel more at ease when we're in nature because I'm like, at least if the show isn't going well, we're all in nature.
Yeah.
Like we're all outside, we've got some drinks, like it's fine. Like I feel like the pressure is just eased off just the teensiest bit. Whereas when you're like inside, domed in a ceiling, you're just like, hi. Okay, it's just me right now.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing VIP experiences for this tour?
I don't know. We will think about it. I feel like I um we have like such a huge workload. We run on a pretty DIY setup. We don't have a huge team on the road, so that we can actually cover our costs on tour. So the idea of I don't know what it would mean. We've talked a lot about trying to add a VIP experience, and that would just mean like Pat and I having more work during the day, whereas he's our
Yeah.
tour manager, and like we both are so full of jobs all day, including show days. So we're just like, I don't know when we would squeeze it in, but I mean, for me, I'm like VIP is like, just please give me like a table and a chair where I can sit, like not have to be like elbowing in a huge
Elbowing people, yeah.
crowd. I'm like too old for that now. I'm like lost my youthful passion for elbowing through crowds. So we'll try and do stuff like that for sure.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Well, hopefully I could see you before or after the show, grab a little photo off.
Oh yeah.
And so as an indie artist, some questions I have. So Borrowed Time, which I love, was featured on the Rick and Morty season 5 soundtrack, and it was a surprise to see tennis with Rick and Morty. So I've always been curious, how did that transpire?
Our friend Ryan Elder does the original music for Rick and Morty. He's done it for always, I think. And he knows we're huge fans. He knew that if ever a moment came up, an opportunity for us to write a song for the show, we wanted to do it. And finally, the right moment came along, and he pitched us the job. It was really fun.
Yeah, that's a great song. And it was cool to see like tennis with Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I'm so glad we got to do it. Yeah, it was a great experience. It was a lot of work. I was very stressed. I really
Really?
wanted it to be good.
Well, it is.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
And as an indie artist, who are some of your favorite fellow indie artists?
Um,
Maybe some that you can't stand. Who knows? You tell me.
no, I wouldn't do that. I well, they're not really indie anymore, but I've been shouting from a rooftop for a very long time how much I like Fontaine's DC. Um, I honestly love how a lot on their new album is giving Linkin Park, which I love. I'm like, yes, let's bring back Linkin Park. So sick. Uh, I mean, I love Alice Phoebe Lou, who's coming on tour with us, who we found out about Alice through the band Loving. And we love Loving so much. They're amazing people, love their music, love the band. They also did a tour with us around the Pollen album cycle, and I loved them. I could listen to them live every night. It's like listening to a hug. I don't know. It's just like extremely soothing. Uh, yeah, that's a little bit of what I've been liking. We've still mostly listened to old music as a I mean, we definitely listen to what's coming out now, and I love what's happening now, and I like to be aware. But when we're trying to write, as far as influences go, we try to really turn back the clock, dig back into the 70s and 80s and 60s and look for things from the past. I don't want to be competing with my peers or ripping off my peers. I don't want to be like subtly, you know what I mean? Like I just want to.
Yeah, I know what you mean, like subconsciously influenced by like a current
Mhm.
sound, and then you
Exactly.
think shit. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I really want it to be, I mean, obviously, no one writes anything in a vacuum already. We're standing on the great history of pop and rock music, and it is our education. So, it's not like all of our ideas are like pulled from thin air, but I would much rather be, yeah, pulling from what is clearly the past and not in competition with us right now.
No, I feel you. And that's so funny because I listen to, especially when I'm writing, because like if I'm writing for the magazine or like working on the podcast, sometimes like I tend to like listen to a lot of old music too. One era of indie music that I loved was like the early 2000s or early 2010s specifically with the Two Door Cinema Club, MGMT, Passion Pit.
Oh man, yeah, I love MGMT.
Yeah, I would love to see like you do like a collab with MGMT or Passion Pit. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Oh my God, yeah, for sure. That would be so fun. We did a tour once with MGMT's band.
Okay.
I'm not the two lead guys, but their band, they're called Karoma, and they were amazing, crazy shredders. It was really fun to play with them, and that's as close to MGMT as we've ever gotten.
Now, is there anyone that you would ever want to collaborate with? Because I know some artists do, some artists are against it, but like, y-
I I mean, I think it would be fun to sing harmonies on someone else. I mean, I honestly, we're not huge into collaborating. To be honest, Patrick and I can barely work with each other. We're double alphas. We're like both the captains, and it's like crazy. Like if there were two wheels, we would be driving the ship. It would be breaking in half, and we would be like, so it's a miracle that even we can work together. So we've talked about it a lot. We're like, I can't imagine adding even one more person. It'd just be too many opinions at that point.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I don't think anything has really come to mind. There's people I would love to meet,
Oh,
like
good.
Elizabeth Fraser from Cocteau Twins. I'd love to meet her. I'd love to meet Kate Bush or Bjork, those like larger than life artist types who seem like they live on a different plane. They don't do normal. You can imagine that they just don't have normal days. They just kind of
Yeah.
like float about in the ether and like I don't even, you know what I mean? Like what do you do? How do you live? Like where do you get your ideas? I would love that.
York is another one who like we're talking about sounds that we like. Another like sound that I like is like the Bjork Radiohead
Hmm.
Smashing Pumpkins S sound. I
Oh,
love
same. Oh my God, yes. Honestly, we listened to a lot of Smashing Pumpkins
really it's
while we
deep.
wrote this album. And then we listened to a lot of Bjork. I love her beat programming is so, so influential. Like I hear it all the time now in music at the moment. And she did it so well.
Yeah. Now Smashing Pumpkins, what album, I'm curious, did you listen to a lot writing this record?
We listened to everything,
Oh, nice.
including like, first record on. Although, no judgment because I love creative exploration. I couldn't get into the rock opera that just came out recently, but
Neither. You know what you mean?
I but I love that he gave himself a huge writing challenge. Like I love it's all about the journey for the artist, but that wasn't any for me. I didn't want it, but I love that he did that. But yeah, that's Yeah, I think we dug into all of it. Whenever we like go back and revisit like band that had like hits, for fun we like to listen to their very first album. Sometimes that was the album with the hits, but usually it wasn't. Usually the hits came a bit later, and it's fun to hear where they started.
Yeah, it really is because they're another band that has evolved in sound too.
Hmm.
So, oh, one thing I did want to ask you about is because the magazine I write for is like a very popular LGBT magazine, you actually have garnered over the years like a really strong like gay lesbian fan base.
Yeah, we have noticed that actually, and we're
Really?
very proud as a straight cis couple to have created I mean, I love that we can like have this culture and like around us. And I am not straight, but I am in a straight relationship. And I like to tell Pat that I chose him out of all gender expressions. I fell in love with him, and he's very honored that the pool is so big. It
Yeah.
expands past just merely men. um, and yeah, but we have noticed that, and we're really happy to have created that, especially since I grew up in a very, very strict religious environment that obviously was homophobic and frankly sex phobic. um, so I'm really happy to have moved so firmly beyond that.
Can you speak on that a little bit now that you brought it up, like your
Mhm.
upbringing? And was that challenging for you once you started to kind of like explore sexually and realize that you weren't completely 100% this way or that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that my parents are amazing, loving people, but I did grow up in a church environment. I homeschooled, so we were part of like the Christian homeschool purity movement. I don't know if you heard about the purity movement of the like very early aughts, late 90s. It was like terrifying and all consuming, but it was that I kissed dating goodbye, purity rings, purity balls, signing contracts about saving sex for marriage that, I was having to make those decisions before I even had my period. I'm like, why? You know what I mean? It's just like feels very not consensual, very forced. And then all of the messaging that is, anti-gay. I mean, trans didn't even exist in the dialect back then, but they were certainly that anti-trans, anti-everything. And I feel like I had to do a lot of like deprogramming and like unlearning of those things in order to have any healthy sexual exploration of my own life. And unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to explore my sexual orientation until after I had already met Patrick, which I still think I would have loved Patrick and bonded anyway. Because again, Patrick is my human. So
Yeah.
I know that, but we've talked about it a lot that it is something that I have will permanently miss because I already was entered a life partnership with him before I even understood that I could allow myself to actually have my desires and realize, oh, I'm attracted to women. I'm attracted to, I mean, I'm pansexual, I believe, because it's not just cis people for me, but yeah, I mean, so I had to kind of mourn that and release it. And Patrick is amazing, has been amazing about that. And I have written about it a little bit. There's a song on this album on Face Down in the Garden called Always the Same. And it's about me taking, it's about me really like, I guess, standing in my sexuality and my own desires without any shame or judgment anymore. There's a lyric in it that says, lay your hands on me. I'm not wasting my body. And that is specifically referring to all the years that I wasted on abstinence that I'm really mad about. I wasted the horniest years of my life on
I
abstinence. What a fucking waste, literally.
yeah.
What a waste. And Patrick and I joke about it all the time. I'm like, if I could wind back the clock I would have been getting laid during my horniest years instead of just puritanical self-flagellation and yeah, abstaining. And it's so funny. I'm like, my whole life, the messaging was if you have sex, you'll regret it. And I mean, I'm sure that's true for some people, but for me, I really regret abstinence.
No,
And I really wish I fucked more people. And yeah. So anyway, I wrote that's definitely what I'm talking about in the song Always the Same.
wow, I can't wait for this album.
Do you
Especially,
not do you not have the link to it?
um,
We can
no.
make sure you have a link to it. I that you should have had that already, but we can send you a link so you can listen to it. It's just private, it's just for press or whatever, but
Of course
you
I
can
will.
hear it. Yeah, so we can send it to you and you can listen.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
of course. Yeah.
because like I know what's out there already, like on Spotify.
Yeah. I'm sorry. We'll send you the whole thing and then you can listen to it.
Oh, thank you.
Hmm.
Okay. Could I write an early preview or no?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right, awesome. Wow, that's so interesting, your backstory. Did you have like do you feel like the reason that you held off for so long, like, was because of guilt, like sexual guilt, or guilt being attracted to men and women? Like, do you think guilt played a role? Because I know after I came out, for me, I mean, I went through a hard coming out experience, but like for the
Hmm.
first several years, there was a lot of guilt. Like I felt guilty to do anything, like kind of like, to have sex, really.
Yeah, I felt guilty to do anything, and I felt guilty for desiring it. Um, yeah, like, I mean, not to overshare, but yeah, I'm like, I am one of those girls who've discovered masturbation very young and then proceeded to have like the most monumental shame and humiliation privately for like all the years. As soon as I found out that that was morally wrong,
Yeah.
I'm like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? You know? So that was really difficult. And then as far as sexual orientation, one of my best friends in college was married in a straight relationship, but then that ended, and then she ended up coming out to me. And that was my first close friend in my life to finally, because we came from this Christian background. And when she did, I was like, oh my, I remember when she told me, I was like, I almost felt like all the walls were crumbling around me. And I was like, that's an option. We can like women. We can like women. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then I was so mad because I was like, why didn't we discover this like so many years ago? I'm like, oh my God, what a waste of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, it took someone else doing like taking that first step for me. I couldn't even wrap my head around it. It was so like demonized in my upbringing, you know, and like I knew so many people who were gay and they were all hiding it, you know, and it just took my first few friends coming out and me being like, oh my God, yes, okay, this makes so much sense.
That's so interesting. You really should write a book, especially
Aw.
like with your background and then coupled with, everything, with the music industry, because that's a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, I do feel like it's a lot. But you know, everyone's life is a lot. You never know. You know, like
That's true, yeah.
everyone's journey is a big one. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, you too. I'm sorry you didn't have the album already, but we'll get it to you. So that way, you know, maybe it can add a little bit to your write up or whatever. But just reach out if you have any other questions. Once you get to hear the album, if you have a question or two, you can email me or something.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. I'm so excited I get to listen early. It's my birthday on Wednesday, so it's like a little early birthday gift.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank
How old
you.
are you going to be?
Huh?
How old are you turning?
Well, I'm having a midlife crisis right now, or
Me
quarter life
too.
crisis.
Me too. Okay.
Like, now I'm officially considered like mid 30s.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like once you're like 35, 35 mark area, it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So
Uh,
I'll be getting
I loved 35. 35 was amazing. I
really.
also feel like, yeah, I also feel like you just keep getting hotter for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like I totally get that 35 feels very real, but you don't look a day over 25.
Oh, I
And
love you.
uh,
I love you.
and yeah, I think you've got a few more years to go. I'm turning 40 in May, and
Look neither at all.
this is the first time I've had a birthday where I'm like, okay, wow, 40. I feel like I gotta really wrap my head around that, but I'm not like scared, but it's different. Like I felt like every year was the same until now. And now I'm like, okay, it's different. But anyway, happy early birthday. 35 is amazing. You're gonna love it.
I hope the rest of my 30s are like my 20s. Well, no, I had a bad 20s, so I feel like I want to make up for it the rest of my 30s. So it's like,
30s can be the 20s you meant to have.
yeah, that's a good way to look at it. That really is.
Mhm.
So you, and that's a big birthday for you. You look, do you do anything skincare wise? Because I'm obsessed with like skincare and shit, so I'm always doing stuff. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously sunscreen, but I always wear sunscreen, but I'm not that crazy about not letting the sun touch my skin. I just like want to live and I
yeah,
like the way the sun feels on my skin. So I'm not trying to like wrap every square inch of myself. And I would rather have just a few more lines and have just spent more time outside. So yeah, I think it's really just sunscreen.
yeah. Wow, well, you have great skin.
Thanks.
And it's coming from someone who like they get Botox a couple times a year, and I'm always doing like microneedling and shit. So you have great skin.
I'm gonna have to start adding, I'm gonna start amping up the skincare routine once I'm in my 40s. I'll get a bit more serious.
Well, don't go crazy because
I
I went through a
won't.
bad breakup a couple years ago, and it was the guy I met through Bumble BFF, and it was, I
Aw.
feel like a magical relationship. And then I feel like after we broke up, I was like, I'm like 32, 33, which I can't remember which one it was, and I'm like, and I got buccal fat surgery, and I got
Oh.
rhinoplasty, and yeah, because I was just going through such like a midlife, quarter life crisis at the same time as the breakup. I was like,
Mm.
no, I think that was
Well,
I turned 33. I
oh.
yeah.
Well, I can't tell you got any work done. It looks very natural.
Thank you.
So good job with that. But hey, I mean, I mean, whatever you need to do, I feel like it's everyone's journey. Everyone has to be in their own body. So whatever you need to do to make that work for you, I'm supportive of it, as long as you are coming at it with self-love and self-respect, and that it's about respecting yourself and not about like, self-hatred or insecurity. You know what I mean?
True, true.
Mhm.
So, but I that was very impulsive. I liked the results, but it was impulsive. So don't do
Mhm.
anything impulsive like I did.
Patrick won't let me. He would freak out. He wants me, he wanted to be with a natural beauty and he would freak out if I did anything. Granted, it would be my choice, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, you look great. And did I say it was
Thanks.
30, 35? It's
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I can't get out of this age. It's 36. That's why I said anything past 30.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
36.
I was just like thought about that. I'm like, did I say 35 or 36? Yeah.
Again, 36 is just 35.
Yeah, I know.
It's all the same. I feel like, I mean, again, I really feel like I didn't notice like any changes until 39. And then I started to feel my body change a teensy bit and be like, okay, things are happening. Interesting. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, well, it was really nice to meet you.
yeah, it was so great to meet you. Thank you for this conversation, and especially thank you for opening up towards the end about like your background and story, because I feel like people could really resonate with that. So,
Oh, thanks. Thanks for listening and asking good questions. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks. I'm glad that I asked good questions. Because I
Mhm.
kind of just wing it. So, thank you.
That's perfect. That's the right way to have a conversation. Winging it is means you're in the conversation. So that's great.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'll be in touch with you, Andrew. And hopefully I could meet you real quick at Pier 17.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Okay.
good one.
Bye.